As we scan through the list of requirements in this freight vehicle specification, we notice a number of different requirements that have different levels of fidelity. For example, the fuel tank capacity actually has related parameters, so you can track more granular properties related to the fuel tank and identify key characteristics that are necessary when the verification of the fuel tank will take place. To ensure quality of requirements, there's usually a need to capture some form of comments or a conversation related to those requirements. This includes being able to reply to requirements, identify that you've either completed the task or maybe need more clarification related to them. You can identify what requirements actually you're unclear about. This could be done either through a review process, change control methodologies, or a variety of formal and informal methods. Being able to save these ones and persist them in the system and track the state, whether they've been replied, resolved, reviewed, analyzed, or any number of factors that you define, give you the ability to identify and govern how do these comments go and how are they reviewed and how are they tracked. In many cases, you want to have a record of that analysis or review process so you can always track the governance methodologies for how requirements are persisted and identified, and ensure that those requirements have actually been satisfied and that the review has been completed properly. Besides commenting, there's also the ability to analyze your requirements for both completeness, correctness, accuracy, spelling, sentence structure, whether the format or the terminology of the requirements themselves are knowledgeable and understandable and can then be implemented later on in the development process. Here you can visualize a analysis going on in real time after the requirements have been defined. So you can determine, are these requirements understandable? Do they meet the criteria? Can they be read effectively? And the application guides you through the analysis process, checking for correctness, giving you a score with some metrics and analysis related to how those requirements are done, providing you with details on where the specific changes need to be made, and then telling you at the same time, this is the area that needs to be fixed, and can you fix it? Can you provide the best and most correct requirements? In this example, we see that a requirement has 3 challenges or 3 grades that are in a negative effect, that may be misunderstood. You can easily change the verbiage of the requirements to make them more understandable. The system finds and recognizes those changes on demand and leverages more natural language to track the effectiveness and accuracy of those requirements. Once you're completed, the requirements themselves are more readable and understandable and can be leveraged by other organizations in a much easier fashion to ensure product quality. In addition to real-time checking, you can also run a quality report against the entire specification. It takes the same grading analysis and provides you a roll-up against all of the requirements in the specification and highlights the key areas that most of the requirements fail in, whether that be sentence structure, length of sentence, and even gives you a detailed analysis for each requirement, specifying where the problems lie. Utilizing the quality correctness check and the reporting, you can then identify potentially requirements that still need to be satisfied and close the loop on some of the comments and quality areas to satisfy the specification. Besides the verbiage and the quality of the text in the requirement, you also need to ensure the requirements are effectively traced to the right verification artifacts, whether it be test cases, simulation details, verification requests, inspection reports, All of these different areas of verification have to be associated to the requirements to ensure quality of the requirements, but also ensure that they're verified effectively by the different types of verification processes that exist. As these relations or trace links are made to the different requirements, we can then start to analyze and understand, as the requirement engineer, have the requirements got the right number of test cases associated to them. Potentially, there could be identifying which test cases aren't defined yet and need to work with the test engineer or the verification engineer to really get those verification requirements or verification test cases or simulation cases assigned, so that we can always ensure that for every requirement, it will be tested by some form, fashion, whether those are physical tests or simulation tests. Here, you can get a quick report as a requirement engineer to identify, are these requirements being satisfied according to the right test cases, and ensure compliance throughout the process of the definition of requirements.